This technique is for the Glueless Rose. These little tiny rosebuds can be created in a varying size and they are perfect for cakes and cupcakes. No wires, no supports, just pretty little rosebuds. This demonstration is going to show you how to make these gorgeous little rosebuds, and we call them glueless roses for a very good reason. There's no glue or water at all used in these, and they're really effective for cupcakes and cakes. No wiring, no support system, just a little piece of fondant rolled and curled in the right way. The things that you're going to need for this are a set of 4 5-petal cutters. Now you can use obviously the varying sizes for these. You can go for the tiny one, which will give you a very small rose, or the bigger one, which is going to give you a slightly larger rose. My personal favourite size for this is size number 2. Now going back to rolling our fondant, we are talking about flowers now. So we don't follow the same rules that we follow for frills. We are going to take this down to a millimetre thickness. You don't want your fondant to be any thicker than a millimetre because it's going to make it really difficult for you to be able to curl this rose up. I've got some nice purple fondant that's been pre-treated with CMC or firming agent. You won't be able to do this with a simple sugar paste. It's really important that you follow the correct procedure for treating your fondant. And you can see how thin this is. I take my size number 2 5-petal cutter and I push down, give it a little wiggle to make sure you've got a nice clean cut. I pop my foam petal pad on top of the fondant that I'm not using, and this is going to help keep it fresh while I work on this petal. I pop it out of the cutter. So once it's out of the cutter, I need to take my metal ball tool and I need the thick end of this tool first. You can use a plastic tool, but you need to be aware of the seams that are on those ball tools. Ideally, the metal ones are completely seamless and they give you a much nicer result. We work on these petals and it's really important that we don't start from the centre smoothing outwards because we'll make them so thin that they will fall off. You should be able to see where I'm starting from, and I'm literally just thinning the edges of the petals. I'm not going around and around, I'm rubbing straight off of the edge. And we want to take these petals to about double the size that they are now, remembering not to go too far down the petal. It will slip, don't worry, move it back. We go all the way around each petal, making sure that you're not sticking them together. So don't be tempted to go over these separating lines. That will cause the petals to stick together and make it harder to work with. We rub all the way around the edges. And you can see that this is now almost doubled in size. The petal tips are very thin. The reason that these roses are glueless is because just the heat from your fingertips is going to secure them into place. The small end of the ball tool is what's going to give us our frill effect. So we need to work in that half on, half off technique, and we come around and back. We do the same with the next petal, we come around and back. We repeat this on all of our petals. Too much pressure and you're going to tear through the edges because they're very thin. Not enough pressure and you won't get any lift on them. The pressure is something you'll play around with and perfect in your own time. Once we take this centre petal, now there's 5 petals, we're going to work on the centre one first. We lift this up and this is going to be folded into a nice tight bud. So we start from this end and between thumb and forefinger we roll it to create that bud. Be careful not to over roll or you will twist it off. We bring up this first petal behind it and the next petal we overlap slightly in front of it. We repeat with the next one and then with the next one. And the warmth of your hand should be enough to get these petals to stay in place. We're going to bring this side up and around, and then we're going to bring this petal around to meet that one. So as we have that slight overlap. It's pretty like this, is a closed rosebud. But what we can do now to finish it off is we can just take these petals and we can just gently turn them back so as it looks like this bud is uncurling. Once we're fully turned back, you can see we have a very cute little tiny rosebud. And again, once this dries, we can trim off the back of this edge so as it will sit flush onto our cupcakes.